that would be the perfect scenario, because most of these exercises feel pointless, you know.
Well, do you think they feel pointless more because she didn't justify your feelings towards your diabetes?
That was,
she's
I
like
feel like
brushing it off to the side.
Yeah, I feel like that was part of it, but it's like, I don't need that validation from her to know that I'm doing something important to me, you know.
Okay.
But it's like, just it didn't seem like there's so much other stuff, because you think when you get to like a master's degree, you're getting trained up to do what you do, you know, and it's like we're not, and I'm learning how to like do stuff I'm uncomfortable with, do it on your own time, you know, because certainly they don't teach personal growth anyway at this institution that I'm at, you know, so it's like I'll do it myself, you know, like the group, like I told you about the group counseling thing, right? And it's they talk about, like, we're in that K-Crep group thing, right? That's part of it, but it's like people are saying stuff that like nobody can help you with in the group, you know. You're like talking about stuff that like you should really talk about with somebody else, and it's like, and if they're so unwilling to like talk about personal growth and stuff, then you should do it on your own time. And it's like, and I am doing it on my own time, you know. It's like I read my own stuff. It's like I figure it out myself, because Lord knows you ain't teaching me, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, in graduate school, there's more Socratic method than regular forced learning.
Yeah, it's just frustrating.
What are you thinking about doing because of this? I know there's a lot of turmoil between the teachers, the school, and the way the school is set up in the program.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I thought about transferring, but it's like, I thought about transferring to the Oregon school, you know, but it's like, there was so much that I had to do, not only to get into the school, and it wouldn't have been like not a sure thing. The guy said it wasn't a sure thing if you get in, and it's like, well, they were asking for everything again over, like the reference letters and stuff, and I said, dude, if I can get into a master's program already, I'm good enough, right? That's my logic. I mean, call me stupid for thinking that, but then not only was it all that shit you had to do, then you had to do everything to get out of the current school that you're in.
All right.
You know? So then it's like, and that was a whole process that took like a month in itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm going to do this whole process, initiate that process, and bank on me getting in there? Mm-hmm. And then what if that don't happen? Then I'm screwed. Now it's like, now I'm going to trade school. It's like, what am I doing? You know? So it's like, it didn't seem worth it to me at the time, you know? And then I had like another option where it's like, well, maybe I should go to the psychology, you know, be a psychologist. Because maybe the stuff that they're teaching is different. Maybe it's like, because it's, all my teachers say like, licensed mental health counseling is so new, maybe I need something a little bit older and more established, where they're not preaching that stuff, and it's not like a beta test or something, you know? I don't know. But, and it's like, and then I'm talking that thing in my head, you know, like, it's like, well, John, is it worth it to you to go an extra 4 years, you know, to school, get trained up, do all the stuff you gotta do? Because I like the research. The research was fun, as long as they don't push you, like, what's her face that we had, right? Where she's like, let's all talk about masturbation practices and stuff, because she was a social psychologist. Now I gotta like what you like too, you know?
Yes.
And it's like, it would have been 100 times more fun, because it's, thank God I landed on what I did, you know? And it was only to like get her off my back. Yeah. And as soon as I heard those words like, oh, I'm not really too fond of that topic, it's like, bingo, got it. You know, that's my topic, because I know she'll leave me the hell alone for the whole duration.
I think she had ulterior motives.
Yeah.
She wanted to make a bunch of little mini
social sites, yeah. And it's, which is fine. If you want to do, you know, if you want to figure out how many times a guy jacks off in a day, that's fine, you know? It's okay. You know, but it's like, it's not me, and that was her, and that's like, you do you, and that's okay, you know? And I was totally fine with that, but if, the point is that the research, I would hope that the research would be like, hey, pick something you like, you know?
And I think that while it's a struggle right now, I think in the end you'll get the certificate and you can do the research after we're done learning the basics.
Yeah.
And the basics have to be taught in a certain manner. And sometimes it's hard because even the professor that you said before, it sounded like she was a hypocrite, teaching one thing, saying another, which made you frustrated. But what's the overall goal?
Get the paper.
Yeah, get the license and the paper degree.
But it's not just the paper, it's the knowledge too. Like, I want to be able to. A teacher asked me in a different class. She said, this was recently too. This was not yesterday. Monday. She said Monday. She's like, how many of you feel like you'll be ready to be counselors? And almost everybody raised their hand. I think it was like a reflex. I didn't, because the way that I'm being taught now and like learning stuff, the way if I was to not read any of the extra stuff that I'm reading or anything like that, I'd be like, I don't feel ready, you know. And it's like I'm coming out of the gate, not feeling any more ready to counsel people than I was in undergrad, you know. And I don't know. It's just,
and I think this is a very normal feeling to feel awkward. I mean, I even felt awkward in my program because I didn't think I fit until I met one person in one class, and I just happened to get her as a professor, and it led me down a road that I would never change. But until then, I felt awkward. I was frustrated. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's as strict as your program, but if I encountered a problem, I just did my own thing until that class passed. And it sounds like you're there in the frustration spot.
Like, you just mentioned about like freedom and stuff. It would be like 100 times better if they would even just respect an opinion, you know, and say like I had a different view on anxiety and fear, right? And it would be so much better if they would say, okay, John, we appreciate your opinion, thank you. Even if they don't agree with it, like they don't have to sit there and get bogged down with me for like an hour, you know, talking about the differences. It's okay, you know, to have a different opinion, and I feel like I was bamboozled in like undergrad, because it's, you know, everyone appreciated it, okay, that's an opinion, whatever, you know, especially, you remember, you know, you know, I don't want to use her name, but her, you know, she was just like, here's what it is, if you want to disagree with it, go ahead, and she just like continued living her life, and it didn't become like a battle, you know. I don't know. There's another thing I forgot to tell you too in here. This was counseling last week, right?
Okay.
It was in that group counseling. She said, she actually said it outright, and I wish I had a tape recorder. All the stuff I've been telling you, she said, we are not trained to be aware of who we are as people. That's not like what the program does. She says, but we expect it from our clients, and we expect our clients to become aware of themselves. And it's like, everything you just said is total crap now, right? Because you just said that we have to do stuff that's uncomfortable. We have to make sure that we would do something, you know, before we ask our clients to do it. And it's like, you just taught us that in this program we're not even taught to do that thing, you know?
And then you met another hypocritical moment.
It was terrible. It's like, I wish I had it recorded, but I wrote it down verbatim, what she said, you know? And I have it in my own writing, but it's like, if I had goddamn like GoPro or something on my forehead, I would have had it, you know?
Oh, boy.
She said something too. She started getting, this is on a side note, now I'm like ranting about it, but it's like, did I tell you this about, we got bogged down in a conversation about integrated versus eclectic?
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
Yeah, where she started saying like, oh, eclectic was a negatively connotated word, right? And it's like, eclectic assumes that you know everything about every theory ever, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, but integrated is you borrow bits and pieces from this. And it's like, dude, it's like a rehashing of the same word, man. You know, it's like, come on. You know, it's like, you're going to pull the wool over my eyes. I've been in this program long enough, you know, to know, and I'm not stupid, you know? I don't know. Stupid.
Well, you got to get through this.
Yeah.
And how many months or years do you have left?
Year and a half or something. A the internship takes a long time. I'm not sure. I'm in the second semester of the first year.
Well, let's say it's gonna take another year.
Yeah.
What can you do for that next year to get your focus off of the black and white?
I mean, doing my own thing helps. You know, like I would read about. I told you about the yoga stuff because I think that's like a viable option for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Like the yoga, and then there's like I read stuff. I got a book called Hatred. It's by some kind of like it's called Hatred: The Psychological Descent into Violence because it interests me. You know?
Oh yeah, I think
You
I've
know,
heard
it's
of that
about like terror. There's about some psychiatrist wrote it or something.
Yeah.
And it's like it's interesting. It's like oh, read it. Why not? You know, and the cover looked cool. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but it's just like certain things I prefer to. Like the intro to professional counseling, that book I didn't read at all. I read the ethics code because that's what I thought was relevant to the class. You know.
Well, what could you do in your side time? Do you have any professors that you really like or like to talk to?
The one guy I did like, he was in that one class and only lasted until like last week. It was one of them like little blurb classes for like a credit. That only goes till like February. You know? He was cool. I mean, because he didn't care. You know, he had that mentality where he's like, look, it is what it is. This is it. If you have a different opinion, if you like do research, if you think it's wrong, you know, and you want to disprove it, you know, it's like.
So do you think you fall under his type of thinking?
I fall under that. It's like, listen, I got a certain opinion that I talk about, and it's like if you don't like it or you don't like it, continue living your life. You know?
Okay.
And it's like I like to think we share certain points of view on like certain things like multiculturalism, stuff like that, and like just the whole advocacy thing and shit like that. It's I don't know. Am I wrong? Tell me wrong.
No, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong or right, but I think you might be
know?
onto something because you found somebody that you like the way they think and the way they operate. What if you were to go up to him and ask him for additional things? I know your course loads is got to be pretty big.
Yeah.
And it's not a weekend thing. It's a full time. I go to school on these days of the week.
Yeah.
What if you were to ask him? You know, maybe he's got research going on that you could get into, and draw your focus away from the current issues.
Predicament. Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're doing really good in school.
Which is the sad thing because I shouldn't. It's like I'm reading all the books and stuff like that, and it's some of the stuff I don't like to read because I simply don't agree with it. You know.
Yeah.
And that might seem short-sighted because it's like, okay, you don't agree with it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't read it anyway. You know, but it's almost like coupled with you read the book and then you go into the class and you hear what the teacher's saying, you know, and it makes no logical sense. Like when she said we're not taught to be aware of ourselves, like, it makes me not want to read the book, you know, because it's like this broad assign the book, you know, and it's like I'm making my own connection in my head. Book bad, person bad, ergo, you know, they're both bad, you know, and it's like, I don't know, it's like suspending that. But then there's like other books that I find about the topic that I do agree with because the guy who writes it, it's like I'm looking at the writing and it's like the guy has that thing where it's like, this isn't established fact, whereas like everyone else is like, it's established fact, this is how it is, you know.
But
think my way or the highway, you know.
And I think that's the way both of us were. Undergrad all the way up was complete research minded. We look at black and white things. We want empirical evidence all the way through and teach it to us the correct way.
Yeah.
And I think you're frustrated as hell because
yeah,
it's not empirically validated.
It's almost like they don't care about like empirically validated anymore. It's almost like, you know what, if nobody gives a flying shit about empirically validated anymore, I'm still going to listen to empirically validated, but I'm going to explore stuff that isn't empirically validated, you know, because some stuff works, you know.
Yeah.
It's like when I said, practice voodoo, right, and then something happens to and they say they got healed or something, what am I going to do? Argue with them for 60 years that it didn't work, or am I going to sit there and waste half my life testing?
Is there like better because of it?
That's what that guy said with he was doing solution-focused therapy, the teacher, and he said something very important. He said, if it works, and that's it. He said, don't worry about, like, why worry about it? If the guy got better, okay, you know?
Yeah.
If the you know, I don't know, if somebody got magically healed from eating all this ice cream, what are you going to do? Study it or just say, okay, it worked, or whatever, you know, move on, continue living your life. You know, that's like my philosophy, just continue living your life, okay? You know, just, I don't know. They probably do. But
So for the next session, do you want to even entertain the idea of going to talk to that professor?